Hey, how's it going, everybody? Thank you so much. Here back again for another Moonman experience. And this time, I've got my friend, great Star Atlas player, super knowledgeable, just a super credible dude. You guys probably know him from Twitter Spaces, but, he just is amazing with the technical side of things. Ronan, how are you doing today?
Pretty good in yourself, I mean, man.
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Thank you. Thank you.
That's great to hear. That's great to hear. What a awesome day it's been so far. I mean, one day right now after score, I'm pretty sure everybody's excited to see like what their Atlas gains are and and then some of them obviously having to resupply their ships. So yeah, we're already
Yeah.
playing the game, hey?
Yeah. No, I know. I've been playing Thursday night. Waited around, for 4 hours listening to some EDM. Star Atlas, are you ready? 45 times. We're ready.
Exactly.
We're ready. I promise we're ready. And so I waited around, streamed a little bit, and I think we're all super excited. We've been working super hard, um, putting guilds together. The club's doing big things. Final Frontier's doing big things. Shout out to all the other guilds. We're all just doing super big things, and I think we're all just super happy. This is what it's all about. So, staking's finally here, and we're earning a little bit from these ships, and it's just great. So
No, I agree 100%, like genuinely. It's been quite the build up to this, especially with all those delays. But I mean, it was all just for our own benefit at the end of the day, really.
right.
Like, I mean, just to make sure that we have what we have now, like the staking, how the numbers look when you like the live updates constantly with the numbers moving up. I mean, that's amazing in itself. Um, and
Yeah. Let's
then
get
like
into that.
this
Let's get
little
into that.
resource stuff as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's get into that because we were talking before this, and you were mentioning about that you had kind of found some new things in the fluctuation in the Atlas price and the ship price and how that all goes together. And you're the person to ask. I'll be the audience because literally, that side of things is just a little bit over my head. But that's why we have great people in the space like you, and we need you guys. So yeah, lay it on us. Let us know about that a little bit.
Yeah, so what I noticed today after a day of staking and everything is that the atlas that you gain daily does fluctuate. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know what the root causes of the fluctuation, but let's just give an illustration. On the first day of staking, let's say the pack light was generating about roughly 139.005
Mm-hmm.
Atlas. And today, after 24 hours later, it's generating 138.943 Atlas, which is about a 68 as a 0.068 Atlas difference, which isn't an enormous amount, but I mean, for people who like one atlas is like what, like 10 cents, a little bit like 10 cents,
Yeah, I think
a
it was
little bit more
12
than
on
like that.
Thursday, and then it dropped down, like within 24 hours to 10. Yep, you're right.
Mm. So I don't exactly know what the factors is right now. I'm going to be testing this out for like a week or two to see exactly like what is the factors that come into play with it. Is it with the amount of Atlas, the amount of ships that are being staked, or is it with like it's just a gradual thing that's happening over time? Will it slowly decrease and so on? But the thing is like I don't think it's decreasing amongst all of them because when I went to go and check my Pierce X5s that I had
Mm-hmm.
staking as well, they actually went up in value and they went up in the
Really?
amount of Atlas that they made. Yeah,
Yeah.
so they went and they were originally making 6.234 Atlas a day, and now they're making 6.2536 Atlas a day. So they actually increased by a little bit. So I will have to, like I said, I'm going to have to play around with it for a little bit of a week. But because one of the things that Swagner said in the foundation chat, and I'm pretty sure in the general chat as well,
Yeah.
is that there's still mechanics and features to the game that we haven't discovered yet.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm digging and I am trying to find as much stuff as I possibly can. Because it's these things may play a role in like like future down the line kind of stuff when like the DAO comes in and more comes in, and then even Score Tier 1 comes in later on as well, which is pretty interesting, which is going to be a pretty interesting time in itself.
Yeah, we definitely got to link back up again in about a week. So after you do all that deep dive, right, and you learn a little bit more about the metrics, like you're talking about, because I
Mm.
would love to hear about it. And I think a lot of people would. Yeah, it is weird in that price fluctuation. And you did say that X5 went up just a little bit, and then obviously you have, um, uh, what was the first one that you said?
There was the pack light. The
The
pack
pack
light
light.
went
The
down
pack
by a
light went
bit.
down like a couple points, right?
Mm.
Nothing significant, but there was a change there. There was a change,
Yeah, there
so
was
that's
a
going to
change, and that's the
affect.
thing. So we're gonna have to just see like on a day-to-day basis. Fortunately enough, what I'm doing right now is I'm like keeping a track record of it.
Right.
So I've got like a Excel spreadsheet that I'm putting in each day's amount that's earning and so on to see exactly what will happen and so on. Because I mean, well, this is interesting stuff, and we'll want to know more about it basically.
Yeah, yeah. Me and everybody else in the world, and you yourself. That's why you're digging into it. So if I could
Exactly.
speak for the community, I would just say thank you. We appreciate that. And that's just the beauty of this game, right? So many people are interested in doing different things. Some are providing content in whichever way is their natural talent. Some are digging into the ship details and the metrics like you are. Some are really posting a lot on Twitter and showing off of just the aesthetics and the graphics and the beauty of these ships. So everybody just has a little, their foot in a couple of different doors, and that's what they're really pushing out to the community, and that makes for a whole community with so many, it's like an onion. It's got so many different layers, and whatever you're
Mm.
looking into or whatever you have interest in, you could probably find somebody that has that same interest delivering that content. So now that we kind of talked about that, and we'll talk about that, we'll touch back on it. Star Atlas is the reason we're here, but let's go into a little bit of your background. You had mentioned to me that you've been into gaming for about 16 years. What got you into gaming, and what's that history like?
Uh, well,
It's a
well,
lot.
it was more so like my dad basically the one day
Mm-hmm.
brought home like a copy of Age of Empires 1, and as soon as that was there, it sparked everything. I went from like basically on a small little computer to like a PS2, and on PS2, I mean I remember like all the games like Ratchet and Clank and
Yep.
what's it,
Yep.
Sly Bandicoot, those
Yeah.
kind of things were the thing back then.
And
It
Age of
was
Empire used to have the best looking covers. I remember always walking through the
exactly.
stores and seeing them and getting them from time to time, right? And they were just beautiful. I was like, "What? This is just gorgeous looking." You can just play as so many different civilizations and just do domination and also just build an empire, right? Age of Empire. So
Exactly.
yeah, I remember those. Yep.
I mean, that's kind of the inspiration I had for the most recent one, where I signed up with like the Xbox Pass, and then I was
Hmm.
just playing Age of Empires 4 for a while, even like doing it a little bit competitively online. It's so well done. Age of Empires in general is just so well done across all of them. Number two with all its expansions, number three with all of its DLCs. It was just amazingly well done. Um, but yeah, then I transitioned from like
Was gonna say you said you
PlayStation
were
2.
possibly maybe a
Yeah.
go ahead PlayStation. Yeah, go ahead. I was gonna say you're
No,
possibly
no.
maybe a pro gamer. Is that?
Oh yeah,
Can you
no.
shill yourself a little bit? You want to dust
Yeah,
off your
no.
shoulder to the public?
So yeah, so I used to play professionally for Dota 2, and
Nice.
my role within that Dota 2 was mainly Pos 5, which is like hard support. So I used to be like the guy who would come in and be like, "Is my core still alive?" And then I must make sure he's alive. Is he getting farm? Yeah, he's getting farm. is he dying? Yeah, I need to sacrifice my life for him. Literally run in front of the enemy in order to make sure that he was still alive at the end of the day, basically, in a sense. The nice thing though is that from that professional background, I transitioned across to other forms of like competitive like nature basically. Like I went from there to Arc and I played Arc official, and there and within there I was within one of the top guilds in the world
Yeah.
for that, and that's a 24-hour competitiveness constantly, because I mean like it doesn't matter on what time zone you're in. If your server is getting raided, your server is getting raided, and you need to just be on there to make sure that you defend your base, because the
Yeah.
stuff we used to build back then was madness.
So let me
And
ask
then
this because not to cut in, but I think this is going to be
mm,
good to talk about. We're going to see other people in the future come into Star Atlas once the full game is released. We're going to see other Dota players, League of Legend players, these MMO games, World of Warcraft, right? We're going to see these people come into this space. It's going to happen. And these teams have already been working with each other for years. Do you have any of your Dota people coming into Star Atlas? Do you know if any Dota teams are coming into Star Atlas? You know, kind of speak on that a little bit, on just these gaming teams that are already so well established and possibly in those E3 leagues and doing damage and really skilled in what they do. What's that going to look like possibly for the future when they come into Star Atlas?
So I think the biggest thing though for Star Atlas is the
Mm-hmm.
fact that it is still new and that there isn't much like to go on with Star Atlas currently.
Yeah,
Like I know a lot of people are currently trying to get more into like Elite Dangerous and EVE Online in order to get like a little bit of a head start with
yeah, that's what I'm
Star
doing.
Atlas.
Yeah,
And yeah, and it may help to a certain extent and everything like that. But at the end of the day, this is going to be an entirely different type of mechanics because it's built on a different type of engine. It'll have like your general like same mechanics, but otherwise like how the fleets are going to operate, how you're going to be able to pilot your own fleet, how your communication with your teammates is going to be, and everything like that. There may be a different form of communication by the time the game comes out than Discord, and we may have
right.
like a better in-game kind of communication that may come out. That would be amazing. But
Yeah,
I
with tech,
think,
tech is just gonna get so
yeah,
much. Tech is just gonna get so much better in 5 to 7 years, right? So we
exactly.
just don't know. But yeah, go on. Yeah, yeah.
So I think one of the bigger things is that when actual gameplay comes out, it's more so taking, and I mean this is something that I'm going to do in my guild, and I
Mm-hmm.
recommend other guilds do it as well, is taking your members, seeing what roles they want to do when the minigame comes out, or not when the minigame, when an actual gameplay content comes out, and then letting them play in that, and then taking them from that, and then saying like, let's do some teamwork operating stuff. Because from what I understand, with one of the interviews that or one of the town halls that we've previously had with Michael Swagner, he said that I think with Score One, there will be single player missions, and
Mm-hmm.
then there will be multiplayer missions as well. Well, Score Tier One, sorry. There will be single player and there will be multiplayer. You as an individual with your fleet, you can take part in the multiplayer missions, but there's still going to be a multiplayer aspect to those missions and so on, and that's where teamwork's going to come in and things like that as well for the future, basically, of Star Atlas. Um, so it's going to take like a big amount of effort from the guilds to interact with their players and so on. And I understand like with other games, like their guilds may come across to this and so on, and then they'll have like a whole teamwork system as well and everything like that. But I mean that's why I feel it's super important to make sure that when like uh, game content comes out, that you at least start getting your players or getting your members into a mindset where it's not so much that they're just playing for themselves at the end of the day, which they are, but they're playing together with everyone else. And that makes so much of a difference, because once you start changing the mentality of your members and
Mm-hmm.
having them go across to a mentality instead of a solo into a co-op, even multiplayer mindset, it completely changes the dynamic of what your guild's possibilities are for Star Atlas itself, which I think is which I think is very important for the game itself and everything like that. If you want to kind of get ahead of everybody else.
Right, right. Yeah, that's going to play a big factor, making sure everybody's on the same page. And um, I know what with like Final Frontier and I'm sure in the club too, you're going to have those casual players, right? They just want to be in a they want to be on a team. They want to play casual, but they want to know that they have the backing of a team that can support them if they need the help. But there's going to be a lot of people that just stay in those safe zones and they don't really do much, right? They just they
Mm,
do their jobs, they do the simple stuff, and then obviously you're going to have that mid tier of people players that are going to be a little bit of PvP, maybe more so PvE, and just kind of just play the game casual, but put a little bit of force into it. And then you're going to have those guys like I'm assuming you're going to be one of these guys. I know I'm going to be one of those guys that
oh,
are really
definitely.
going to be in the grind and really going to be out there just tearing it up and really looking for to try to get the most out of the PvP MMO experience of this, Unreal Engine 5 blockchain game that has been being built called Star Atlas on Solana, right? So there's going to be those different tiers in the team, and then you're going to have those casual players that come in 3 years that are not a part of a team and they just walk around and I don't know, do silly stuff that you can do in a game like this, right?
Mm,
That's going to be available, like, Second Life. And I always say
yeah.
Second Life in these games just to walk around just to nag at people or just to mind their own business and sell stuff. Yeah.
No, but that I think that's I mean that's gonna be a luxury that's gonna be offered
Mm-hmm.
because like guilds like the Final Frontier and even like the club, like with what we're doing to be the pioneers for the future of future members, that they
Right.
can have the luxury of like just screwing around or whatever they want to do within like the metaverse itself because we've come in and we've already established a system basically at the end of the
Right.
day. And I was talking with someone else the other day about like how with the red zones and things like that, we may not like basically in a sense bombard one another, but it may like basically convert into a Wild West kind of environment. Like, you would basically ask the individual like, what is your intentions within the zone and everything like that and so on. And you'd have a space station out in the red zone, collecting like basically because you need one in order to collect the resources from the planets and so on, because the resources go straight from the planet into the space station, and that's where you collect most of your resources.
Mm-hmm.
So there'd be space stations out in these red zones, which most of the bigger guilds, depending on the faction, would be monitoring and patrolling around for these planets because I mean these are really high risk zones, and players could come and go in between these zones, but it's basically like a Wild West,
Yeah,
where
there's
there's a
going to be
there's a
sectors
system.
controlled. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. There's going to be a system within
Yep.
these red zones that aren't governed by the mechanics of the game. It'll be governed by the players, and it'll be governed by um, how players react to one another, basically, in a sense. Like with guilds, which have like big alliances and things like that, they'll they'll come into these zones and they'll control these zones, and people they'll put up a system for people and so on. Like I know that there's going to be a sphere that you can build in the red zones, or not so much just the red zones, but any zone that that people can warp to, and then they would use the sphere in order to warp further down into the metaverse. But in order to do that, it would cost a fee, and that fee goes into the guild and so on and so forth. But it's literally going to be like a whole Wild West thing, and I think that's such a cool thing to actually think about, like how all these guilds are going to like be able to control some of these sectors and things like that, and be able to have a moral sense of order within these zones.
Yeah, I think there is going to be that alliance, and there are going to be sectors controlled, and we might be an alliance, right? But if you're in the sector, because we're doing something specific here, we don't really want any outside noise or really any outside people bothering us. It's like we might be an alliance, but this planet's ours. We don't want you on this planet, and it's not a we want to turn this into a fight or we want to turn this into a war, but this is our planet. We don't want to do any trades from this planet. This is ours. We found it. And you know what I mean? You're gonna have things like
Hmm.
that. You know, like, um, yeah, I really think so. You know, there's gonna be checks and balances that have to be put into play and agreements
Oh,
that
for
have to
sure.
be agreed upon. You know what I mean? Between the alliances. You know, we might
Hmm.
be in alliance for trade. We might be in alliance for goods, ships, whatever the case may be. But there still is that, you got to have that handshake in between, that firm handshake, and that respect, and know that you might own this, we might own this, and we're not sharing this piece of the pie. So it's going to be really cool to see how all these things intertwine, and how everybody just kind of works this whole system. And I know we touched on Eve Online. You said a lot of people are playing that to kind of get used to this game. I know when Star Atlas came out with Score, I was like, okay, so this is staking. We now know what this is. Let's try to, I want to try to get into some other games that are going to be like this. Star Citizen for that UE5 just gorgeous look. Eve Online for that strategy type of gameplay, right? So, have you ever played Eve Online? I know you mentioned that you've played Dota. I know that you've played World of Warcraft, Age of Empire. Have you ever tried Eve Online? Is that something you do, or any other
I
space game?
did. I actually did. I did for like an entire month,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like following tutorials and guides and things like that and so on. It is definitely a challenging game to get into if you want to go to like the like bigger ships and things like that. It's a grind kind of game. But I mean that's with most games nowadays. It does take a grind in order to get into it and so on. So I do understand a bit of like how the strategies work and how you need to build your ship a certain way in order to make sure like the modules are correct and you have like the correct amount of tools inside of one place. And if they weren't
Right.
there, if the resources weren't in that place or the tools weren't made at that place, you had to travel, like you had to jump from place to place to place to place to place to place in order to get to this space station that has the resources, for instance. And even I even joined like one of the bigger guilds and
Mm-hmm.
tried to get to know the system a little bit better. So I had to jump from where I was the beginner place all the way back to where they are deep in space and so on. And I mean, like it was a high risk zones as well, so I was like, I was biting my teeth, biting my nails out there, basically in a sense, and to make sure that I wasn't going to get destroyed through these red zones in a sense. It
Yeah.
was pretty intense, but it is a lot of fun. Don't get me wrong, it's definitely a fun game. It's just something that like as of right now I'm not getting so into,
Yeah.
but I have been looking to get back into it more so recently, just to get a little bit more of a feel for like space environments again and everything.
Yeah, I'll tell you, man. If you want to get into it again, I know for the first time I streamed it last night and I was blown away. And I was like, wow. It's taken 10 minutes just to go through the first gameplay, right? The first
Yeah.
iteration of the game. And I was just like, wow, I'm going to spend 15 minutes on this, because my heart was pumping, and I was like, wow, man, this is the future of Star Atlas, not this exact game, but this is what we're going to experience, just being in space, and any direction you look, you're in space, and it's going to just be great with all these ships. So if you want to get back into it, I'd love to have a person that's a little bit more knowledgeable. With my 2 hours playing the game, I need somebody to kind of take my hand and walk me through what's going on. So I would love to do that. I know a couple of people on Twitter were interested in getting into it, so let's get a little team together, I think, and maybe start playing it. And we don't know what the
Yeah.
UE5 experience from Star Atlas is going to bring, but I'd love for you to maybe touch on what you think that's going to be, and maybe if you're a little bit familiar with UE5 yourself, and what you think's going to come of that.
So So one of the bigger things right now for UE5 is like obviously your own integration of your physical being into the metaverse, for instance. It may not be your physical self, but projecting your face interaction, the way your mouth moves, the direction your eyes move, and so on. Because from what we are seeing, which is a thing with meta humans right now, which
Mm-hmm.
is the big character creation for Unreal Engine 5. You can take a character of that sort and design it in whatever way you want, and then take that character, you can make like a whole little studio for yourself, and then have a Unreal Engine 5 studio on like Twitch or YouTube or wherever it is, and we're gonna have that iteration or that integration with Star Atlas at a later stage, where
Mm-hmm.
you're going to be able to take what your character looks like in Star Atlas, or maybe even if it's a previous character that you made on Unreal Engine 5, and integrate that with Star Atlas, and you're going to be able to project yourself through these characters in this metaverse, and that's the possibilities that Unreal Engine 5 is offering us. It's offering us endless possibilities for how we're going to move, how we're going to uh, talk, how we're going to basically interact with people and things like that, objects. It's it's bringing about a entirely fully changed like thought pattern to what virtual reality is. That's what Unreal
Yes.
Engine 5 is bringing for
Yes.
us with Star Atlas.
Yes. 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 I fully agree. It's very cool. I mean, have you been thinking about a character yourself? Has this been something that you've looked into? Working with UE5 a little bit and checking into MetaHuman. Have you thought about maybe building something for yourself?
Yeah, no, I'm currently in the process of putting a couple of pictures together, and then I
Mm-hmm.
might do a rough sketching of what I
Okay.
want to have character-wise. But yeah, no, because I'm taking a course with Unreal Engine 5, and I'm doing movie cinematics and understanding how the capturing of basically the environment with what your characters are doing and everything like that is gonna go down.
Yeah.
I want to bring, Ronan, the name Ronan within Star Atlas to life, basically. And it's not only with Star Atlas, it's with everything that I go into and
Every
so on.
metaverse.
So exactly. So I kind of have like an image in my head. I want to try to get an artist to design it for me. Um, and then create it in Blender or I think it's Maya, and then and then import that across into Unreal Engine 5, and then have this character come to life, whether it's me live projecting this character with like, because all you need is a phone that has true depth face recognition, and
Right.
then you
iPhones are
just
usually the
link it
best
up.
for that. I think they're
Exactly.
they're kind
iPhones
of
are
ahead of the,
usually
yeah, they're ahead of the curve with
ex
yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
no,
Sorry.
you're exactly right over there. It is that exactly. So that's why I'm this either tomorrow or Monday, I'll most likely be upgrading my phone in order to have more so of an integration with the software.
And speaking of phones,
So
real quick, not to cut you
yeah.
off. Speaking of phones, real quick, Elon's possibly thinking about making a phone, right? I
Oh
heard
my
I heard
gosh.
Joe talk about that, Joe Rogan, a little bit. You think that would be something cool or interested in? You got a take on
That
that?
would be really cool. Because
Yeah.
I mean, like yeah, I mean, with tech, when it comes to technical advancements and so on, I mean, he's at the forefront of it. It's crazy. I mean, with a car that's running off of like just electricity and everything like that, to spaceships that land, or to yeah,
Go up and
spaceships
come
that
back
land
down. Yeah.
themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, how crazy is that? I mean, originally, uh, years back and so on, I mean, it would like crash land into the ocean, and I mean,
Yep.
even then, it would still have damage and everything like that. Those parts. Now, now when the investors or when people invest in like the ship assets and so on, or these spaceship assets, they land themselves and everything like that, and they can be used for like, I think like 4 or 5 runs before they have to be before a new one has to be used. And I mean, that saves millions of like dollars
Yeah.
in fabricating and everything like that, because I mean, I've seen like some of like the previous times where some of them didn't land correctly or anything like that. Some of them like blew up and everything like that. Those I mean, you could see like that's millions just going down the drain. But now we have such an advancement of technology that it's actually crazy to think about and see just what is the possibilities for the future for everyone. So I reckon with his phone, it'll be something that's like similar
It'll
towards the
just
iPhone,
make
but it'll
sense,
have
you know.
exactly,
He'll
it'll have
just
more
do things that make
functionality.
sense. Yeah, that were just, you know, I sometimes take for granted how great these phones are, and they do so much. I don't really ever question, and we don't really ever question as humans what more could they do in a phone. But I'm sure putting his type of brain into it and the people that he can bring together and the team that he can get, I'm sure they're just gonna come out with things on the phone that just go, why wasn't anybody else doing this? This just makes sense.
I
You
want
know, now I
hologram. I want
can't
a
go
hologram
back.
phone.
Yes,
I just
I do want a hologram.
100%,
I do want
100%.
that Star Wars, you know, to where, and I've actually said this in the past. That'd be so sick, right? You can just hold your phone flat, and above you is Ronin's 3D character hovering above, you know, or me to you, the
Exactly.
Moon Man. Like that would be so
Being
sick.
projected. It's being projected literally
Yep.
through the phone. I mean, basically, I want that, and then I want him to go into like a computer line as well,
And
where we can have a whole
yeah,
Tony Stark
yeah.
kind of environment thing, where there's a screen and you can just pull things back and forth the whole time. I mean,
And I'm
that in
thinking
itself just sounds amazing.
how that would work, and I'm almost thinking like this. So you've got your lining of the phone, you've got your outer edge, your screen. I wonder if like to get the hologram, if they would do like some type of camera light, like almost it would look like an LED strip on the outside,
Mm,
very thin, but basically what would happen is when you turn that on, it shoots the projection to the middle. You know, it all those sides of it shoot up to the one point, and then now it's displaying your image. So we might have in the future where there's an LED strip. It's very thin, you know what I mean? Same way that
mm.
camera on the back is extremely thin, you're going to see just an outer layer around your phone, and that's actually where it shoots out that projection to the middle of the camera when you're holding it, you know, horizontally flat in front of you and the person
Mm.
standing there. So maybe that would
I
happen like
think
that.
Yeah, it could. I think it may be like something where if you put the phone down and
Hmm.
you like activate that you want it in hologram mode, there will be like
Right.
a section because there's so much space on the sides of the phone, a section
Yeah.
on the side of the phone that would basically like pull out and then it would like
Oh,
display all of this stuff for you. And then
that could
it
work.
would
Yep.
basically off of the shadows of your fingers and off of like with it would have like sensors that would be like shot up at the with the hologram, and then whenever your fingers come over a certain section, it would activate what that role of that screen would be like and so on. I think that sounds amazing.
That could work. Yeah. Yeah, and I think that would be super cool. Super cool.
With
It almost sounds like it's like programming, you know, and it's and I know you mentioned that you have a little bit of programming in your background. Um,
yeah,
it
I
does
got
that kind of fall in line with programming? I mean, it's a form of programming, right? You have to maybe
yeah.
you can
No,
speak on
it
some
is.
programming. Yeah.
It's definitely a form of programming. I mean, like I'd studied programming for about 5 years. I even went into this year because this year was mainly my big year for blockchain, and I
Yeah.
discovered most of like crypto and everything like that this year, and got into depth with it, and done most of my day trading and things like that this year. I was like, I wanna know more about like the contracts and things like that, so that if I can go look at a person's contract to see if it's gonna be like a rug pull or something like that that I understand. So I went and I studied Solidity, um, and was making sure that I could understand all of like these little aspects of the blockchain, which is going to be our everyday life for the future. It's literally how I see crypto and the blockchain and everything like that. I see that within the next 4 to 5 years being more so our currency that we would use than the currency that we have now within our own nations. We may have like a thing that we use with like USDC or whatever cryptocurrency maybe for that country, but we would have more so we would go fully digitized and no more have that like that physical actual money, that paper representation or material representation of it. Everything would be digitized for all of this stuff, and that's what I see for like the next 4 to 5 years that may come about. And it's very evident that it is moving in that direction. I mean, like, it's not only like myself that sees it. I mean, Elon making sure that like people can buy Teslas with Bitcoin. I know that there's a country out there that has the option for paying for anything with ETH or Bitcoin or whatever
It's so cool.
basically right now. And then even I've seen like some restaurants taking on the whole thing of basically blockchain itself and everything in Cuba that basically has like this whole menu and everything like that is derived off of cryptocurrency names, like Cardano, this, a Subway,
Yeah.
an Atom, an Atom, a Subway basically, an Atom being the coin and everything like that, and they encourage people to pay for all of these things with crypto and just making a crypto friendly environment. And I think that's amazing how people like that are changing their business in the way that they see it for the future, like the future is going to be crypto.
Yeah, it just makes sense. We already do it now. I mean, there's so many people that have, mobile games, and the kids now, they're just so used to paying in a form of crypto. It's digital currency. They use their parents' credit card, they purchase something, and now they've got, five tokens, and they buy this whatever it is. And it's funny because even people that are against crypto, they might be a type of person that sits, they go to work, they come home, they lay on their couch, they watch their show, and they're playing just a simple mobile game, and they're buying
Mm,
little tokens or a little extra life to be able to play that game longer, whatever the case may be.
mm,
But that's a form of cryptocurrency. Now, it's not labeled cryptocurrency, but that's digital currency. And then even if you go as far as when you go to the bank and you're checking your bank account,
mm,
you can't cash out 10,000. It's going to take a couple of days for them to get that money. So you're actually dealing with digital currency. If you're a person that has a lot in your bank account, that's digital money because they don't necessarily have that. You have to put in a request. So that's also on the back end digital currency. Um,
mm.
it's not, because obviously you can get your dollars if you want them. But if you have $1 million
Yeah.
in the bank, you're going to have to request that. And it might take, I don't know how long it takes to get that out because I don't know anybody that does that. But you know what I mean? And then if you think about a lot of these investors, and these big corporations and these big people like Warren Buffett, they're investing in companies and in stocks. That's digital
Mm,
currency in its own way because they're not wealthy by actual hard fiat cash. They're wealthy by just a bunch of numbers in the computer and on paper. It's kind of digital currency. Um,
mm.
most of the time they're seeing digital currency, right? They're just seeing numbers on a computer or numbers printed on the piece of paper from the computer. And if they actually wanted that wealth. So that's kind of my point on that. But I do agree with you. Digital currency is really the future, and it's taken over my life. I'll for sure say that I got into it in 2017, and I would love to know and maybe hear your background on when you got into crypto, and maybe even what pulled you in.
So I had a friend who had like told me, get this crypto app and start getting
Yeah.
into crypto and so on. And then I had basically, which was at which was at the end of last year, around about December. I don't know exactly, maybe say mid-December last year.
Hmm.
And I was like, okay, cool, I'll get into crypto. So I told my dad, let's put in like a small amount and everything like that, around about like say $25, and let me play with it for a bit and so on. And then I was like, okay, let me play with it. And I started playing with it and I started trading with it. And I turned that $25 into $100. And then I was like,
Oh wow.
okay,
Yeah.
wow, listen, yeah. And that was in the span of like 2 weeks that I had done that. I was like, okay, Dad, let's increase the amount. Give
Something's happening
me,
here.
yeah, exactly. Give me $500. Give me $500. Let me do something with $500. I
25 to
started with
500. That's awesome. That's the
yeah,
typical crypto move. It's like, okay, in a week or in a couple of hours, I made $5. All right, you know what? It's time to put in 100. Math
exactly.
seems right. Let's get risky.
It's exactly that. It's exactly that. So I was
Yeah.
like, "Give me $500." Okay, let's. Then I started doing that, and then I was like, "Okay," and then I tripled that as well, and then I was like, "Whew, okay, let's take this further now." So I once I
Dad, sell
got
your house.
comfortable, once I got more so comfortable with how I was feeling about crypto and where I was, I increased that amount to like what say like $50,000 now.
Hmm.
And now I have like it's spread over a couple of portfolios. I day trade while
Yeah.
having other things that are compounding at the
Don't
same
drop too
time, and
much,
those
Alpha.
things.
Don't let them know how much you got. But yeah, yeah, I know what you're
Ah,
saying. I know what you're saying. Careful.
yeah, no, no, no. Like it's basically at the end of the day,
It's a nice chunk,
I've
dude.
spread my portfolio across so many different things. A,
Yeah.
a large portion of that, of course, is in Star Atlas alone. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, like if somebody was to go look at my wallet, I'm pretty sure they could see what the amount is over there as well and everything.
Yeah, when I put out that
Um,
picture, when they show, you know how they show all of our how they show all of our ranks and stuff. I put mine
yeah.
out, but I literally blocked my wallet on the top. I just showed that I was in the top 400, and then I showed that I was in the top 100 of the mud, or maybe 200, whatever it was. But I blocked. I left the
Nice.
4 there, and I left the 2 there. I didn't show no more than that, you know. And then I also put the Moon Man picture over my mud character. Like, you know, you're gonna have to at least search through 100, you know, to find it out. But I
Yeah,
don't.
well, as soon as usernames comes into play, well, then that's no
it's
longer there.
it's out the door, right? But I try to
Yeah, it's
protect
out the
myself a
door.
little bit. But I mean, yeah, they're gonna know who we are, and people know who the club is, man. You know,
Yeah.
you guys made a huge deal, and look, I'll even say it publicly. I got no problem with it. Business is business. I know a lot of people were crazy about it, but you guys asked and you received. You know, you ask and you shall receive. So maybe we talk a little bit about the club in general and what you guys are just doing over there, man. I give you guys nothing but praise. You know, you guys got a big guild, and you're really making some moves. And we really haven't even
Yeah.
talked on the guild, and but this was supposed to be about you, and this is great. So let's hear a little bit about the guild and what you guys got going on.
So, within the club right now, with score and everything like that, a little bit of an alpha,
Hmm.
we're
Yeah.
making some things for our members to assist them with, um, with score.
Okay.
So, yeah, I can't give too much detail on it yet because it's still in the process of being made and everything like that. So I can't reveal too much on it. But all I can say is we're making stuff to
Hmm.
assist our members with score, as well as we actually airdropped to a lot of our early verified members
How
um,
much would these?
an NFT.
How much would this benefit these people? You know, the
Oh,
members.
it's okay. So it's basically it's going to make your life so much easier for Score. This program that's coming out,
Yeah.
100%. It's going to make your life so much easier for Score. Um, but
And
yeah,
this
like I
is
said
this a,
before,
is this a type? Sorry, is this like a type
no,
of
no.
program or some type of system, or maybe even like a website or an off browser game that's going to integrate into it that you think maybe Star Atlas will say, hey, that's really cool. Can we maybe
Mm, it's going
collaborate?
to it's okay, so I'll release a little bit more. So it's
Yeah.
going to be a program basically, but it's going to assist you. It's a program that will connect with the verified members wallet, because we have a bot that's already called Jeeves. And Jeeves is the way that you become a verified member within the club.
Right.
Because what Jeeves does is Jeeves connects to your wallet and then adds your assets to the total amount that the guild has, so that you feel like you're part of the guild right away. All that Jeeves does and so on is it initializes with your wallet. It asks for permission, and then all it does is like what is it? It like just looks at your assets
Mm-hmm.
basically, and only
Yeah.
your Star Atlas assets, none
Right.
of your other stuff. It
Right.
only looks at your Star Atlas assets and then adds that to your portfolio inside of the guild, because you can use Jeeves in order to see what's your portfolio at, what kind of ranking do you have, and things like that.
Beautiful.
And Jeeves does a whole bunch of stuff basically.
That's
Jeeves is
beautiful.
amazing.
Yeah.
But all I'm going to say is Jesus is going to, at a later stage and so on, is
There's
going
another layer
to
coming.
be able to assist more so with the members. Like Jesus got so much potential ahead of it. Jesus is going to be an amazing program that will integrate when, well, it's already integrating with Star Atlas already now, but it
Mm-hmm.
will integrate further when third-party integration comes into Star Atlas. It's being set up, it's getting into those places and things like that and so on, and it's going to do amazing and wonderful things. I mean, yeah, I can't reveal too much more on Jeeves because
Yeah.
there's stuff that's being made for it right now.
That's awesome. That's awesome. How many members do you guys have now?
So
I
let
know
me
I got the
take a
Discord
look.
pulled up. Yep, yep. Um,
I think we have what 2,680
yep,
members right now within the Discord itself.
yeah. How many official members do you guys got?
So official members, we have 682.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Yeah, it's growing. It's growing for sure. Like, and the nice thing is that these members is not just part of one community. It's a variety of communities and so on.
Mm-hmm.
We very often within the verified chats and so on, we've had individual chats for different languages.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a Spanish one, an Indonesian one, and as more and more communities come along, we'll add more voice chats for them because they're very intimidated by trying to come into an English voice chat and chat English with us.
Mm-hmm.
So we rather let them have their own space, and we have ambassadors within Star Atlas that communicate with them, and then they'll come and communicate with us and relay how these communities are feeling within the club and how they're getting along and everything like that. I mean, even more so recently, we started having more than one language like videos on our YouTube channel as well.
Right.
So there was the tutorials that
Smart.
came out. I
Smart.
I did a English one
Mm-hmm.
that was around about 6 minutes or so, and then our Spanish ambassador went and also made one, and then we posted that on the YouTube as well. And then I know Ogi does the Indonesian community, and he has videos
Shout out
out
to
of
Ogi.
the tutorial as well. Yeah, shout out to Ogi for sure. And he does that as well. And yeah, so it's building up the community better and better and better. And like I said earlier on, we airdropped a couple of NFTs to our members, and these
Oh,
NFTs
that's
will have
awesome.
utilities later on down the line. So for the early members, they did get an NFT, and these NFTs will come in for ranking with how many kills, with what they do, with resources within the game, um, how far they've traveled, what they've done within the club, what events they've taken part of, and okay, this is a little bit more of an alpha, but these are
Let's
all.
do
It's not
it.
so much an alpha. There's an article for it, but as these members with these NFTs take parts in events, these NFTs will upgrade
Mm-hmm.
and they start getting like higher and higher in value and so on. For the fact that these they all have like the opportunity to with these NFTs. Because of they having the NFTs have a verification for getting discounts on ships that the club will make or things that the clubs will have and so on, like a space station, and they want to have like a living quarters within the space station,
Mm-hmm.
then they'll get it at a discounted rate compared to what they would pay elsewhere.
Yeah,
So
that's
yeah,
really smart.
there's lots of things coming about,
I th-
lots of things coming about. Like
I'm really
it's actually
excited to see it
crazy.
all.
Yeah, a lot of things are coming about with the Unreal Engine 5 studies that I'm doing now as well. Not only for like the YouTube content stuff that I want to make, but for other
Mm-hmm.
things as well for the club itself. But I can't release too much on that because that still has to, that I have to still do the program, do the courses, understand how to do all this stuff, and then I can get to that basically.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, that's really good that you guys are reaching out and making, um, allowing multiple languages and be spoken on your channel. I think that's very, very important, especially in the space of Star Atlas, because what I'm realizing is this is a universal game, right? This is something that
Mhm.
is you're pulling people from all corners of the planet, and it's almost you need it, right? I know in Final Frontier we have multiple different chats for different people for people that speak different languages, right? And I'm sure the guild,
Mm.
I'm sure the club has something similar. And if they don't, you have ambassadors that are speaking. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. You guys do, yeah. So it's almost you have to have this if you're going to
Mm.
be a guild in Star Atlas. It's a must. You got to have. A way to communicate or officers or leadership that can communicate to the message down to these other countries, these other foreign speaking humans around the world. That's a beautiful thing, man. That's a beautiful thing. And I
No,
was
it
gonna
is.
ask you. Yeah,
It's a
go ahead.
great opportunity
Go
to
ahead.
be able to do all these things with people. Hey, it's amazing. It's wonderful. It's amazing to meet all these people from different parts of the world, which I
It
think
really
is the
is.
most amazing thing about like what Star Atlas is offering us, what the metaverse is offering us, is all
It
of this.
it
this
feels,
opportunity.
yeah, it feels like a Star Wars movie, right? And what I mean,
Exactly.
what I mean by that is like, in Star Wars, you would, they go to other planets, or even Star Trek, right? You go to other planets and you meet different species and humans and entities and stuff like that, and some are an alien race, some are, just so many different races and stuff like that. And it's like that with this game. Now, obviously, we're all on planet Earth and we're all humans. But there's different races, there's different cultures, and this game has just all brought us together. And you're running into all different walks of lives, and it's just different. You don't see this in other communities, or you don't really get this if you play normal games, because you're just gonna play on your server. And that's, if just for us here in the United States, that's, you're playing either on East Coast or West Coast, and or north south, so it's you're playing within your region or your land, right?
Mm.
And I don't really know anything else, unless you're on forums and 4chan or Reddit, that you really are communicating with other people from around the world, or maybe you're on Twitter. And I don't know. It's really cool that everybody is coming out of the woodworks and coming together and building some pretty beautiful things.
No, it definitely is. It creates so much opportunity for so many people out there who don't have this opportunity to connect with people on a different level. And this is what Star Atlas is offering us. Well, this is what the metaverse is offering us. Is
Yeah,
an opportunity to connect with people on a totally different level, which I think is amazing.
it really is. And to speak on, helping others uh, through language that you're more accustomed to, or might be your first or second language. You had mentioned to me that that you actually spoke. You actually spoke. Yeah, of course you speak English. That was silly. It's silly the way I set that up, right? The way that came out of my mouth sounded terrible. But no, you had actually mentioned that you taught English to Thailand, to some people
Yeah,
over there.
I went. So when I was around about like 18,
Mm-hmm.
actually, 18, I went to Thailand in order to teach English.
Okay.
Because I didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life at that stage. So my parents were like, "Here, just go do something other than nothing." And I was like, "Okay, I go do something." And then so I went over there, taught English. Beautiful, beautiful country. Um, Especially their beaches. Their beaches are amazing. The islands, lovely. The only issue I had with Thailand is it is humid. It is so humid, a different type of humid
Just
than I've ever
sticky and
had to
wet.
experience.
Yeah.
No, no, it's
No.
not just wet, the humidity in the air. So when it was hot and it felt um like 33 degrees Celsius, for instance, it would rather feel with the humidity, it would feel like 40 degrees Celsius, for instance.
Oh
And
wow.
it's just that it was just such a hot country in general and so on. Even when it rained, it wasn't like cold rain. It was hot rain. Their winters aren't necessarily cold. It's kind of hot still. Most of the clothing I wore there during that time was like super thin clothing, other than obviously if you go into a mall or anything like that, the AC is blasting in those malls, and then you want to put a jacket on, that's for sure. But aside from that, no, look, that it was an amazing experience. I'm super grateful for that experience. I met a lot of people on that
How
side
long
of
were
the
you out
world.
there for?
I was out there for about 6 months,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then I came back because of like health reasons,
Okay.
because like a lot of like the stuff that they were doing at the schools, and at that time I wasn't mature enough in order to take all their responsibilities. They were just throwing more and more responsibilities onto me,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
wasn't ready for that mentally and maturely wise and so on. So my parents were like, no, we're just gonna rather bring you back. We can see this is affecting your health and everything like that, which it was,
Right.
and I came back. But the most fortunate thing, or the most grateful thing I have for that, and so on, is that I came back like prior to like you say about a month or two before my grandfather passed away. So that I'm super grateful for, actually, that all panned out in that way. That I was able to at least see him one more time before he passed away and everything like that, which I'm super grateful for.
Yeah.
Um,
That's amazing. That's
yeah, no,
amazing.
It's been an experience. Life has been an experience, but I think that's why it's so easy for me to talk with people, to talk about things, or hear their story, or be able to communicate with them in a different way that is beneficial for them. Like if they're not in a right space of mind, or they're not in a right place at that time, I can help them in a certain way, and which I've done a lot of the time right now, or over the years and so on, is help people out in those kind of situations, because
Mm-hmm.
people need help, and
Yeah,
it
yeah.
and if people don't see it, or they aren't heard and so on, that they're left to their own destruction, and I don't want that for people. That's why I encourage people to like talk about these things and so on. And I'm more than willing to talk with people about these things, because I want them to be in a better place than what they previously were, basically.
Yes, I'm really glad that you actually brought up mental health and things like that. I've always been a big person, um, that loves making sure everybody's okay, asking how they're doing, and that's really good to know that you're the same way. And I think there's a lot of people in this community that we care about the well-being of others, um, and Final Frontier, create change, right? This is real, like. We really got to take care of each other if we're all passionate enough to build each other up, build big things together, talk to each other. We got to always ask that question, like, hey, you doing all right? Like, you doing okay? Like, did you have a good week? Did you have a good day? Anything bothering you? And obviously you have to build a relationship before you get too deep with somebody, and
Mm.
not everybody's just going to lay all their cards out on the table, but it's about building those relationships, because you never know when somebody might go through something and they wish they would have had that relationship built, or you wish you would have had that relationship built with somebody, because you see them going through it and you wish you could have helped them, right? So
Yeah.
just everybody just being really cool with each other, and making sure that they check on others is always strongly important. Yeah.
It's we're humans at the end of the day. There is an aspect within the humanity that's greed and everything like that, but at the end of the day, for my side of things and so on, I want I want other people to have a better life than what they could ever possibly think they're having. And if I can contribute to that, and have an impact on that for their life, I'm more than willing to spend oodles of time assisting in any way I possibly can, basically, which I think is
Yeah.
like the right thing to go about it.
It is. It is. It is the right way to go about it. It's just super important. Um,
Yeah.
super, super, super important. So one last thing I did want to touch on this
Yeah.
is your accent. You had mentioned a little bit to me about that you actually kind of picked it up from gaming. And did I
Yeah.
catch that right?
So yeah, so so I know like the accent itself sounds like similar American and some like British sections of it and so on,
Yeah, it's like
but
a
it
blend.
all
Yep.
came, yeah, it all came from basically playing in the communities that were overseas. Because for a game that I played for many years, which was Ark Survival Evolved, I played on those official servers, and there I played like what 1,200, 1,400 hours worth of game time with only Americans. And in so doing, I picked up on their accent and the way I talk and everything like that. Oh, you must see it. It's a phenomenon when my mom has like a food trailer that she sells gourmet burgers out of and so on, and she loves it. That's her thing and so on. But she sometimes uses me for front office because I remember faces very well because I'm a right brain person. Um, so I remember faces very well, so I can remember all these people's faces. And when they come to the front to order what they want and everything like that, and I'm like, "How can I help you today?" And then I start taking their orders and things like that. They're like, "Where are you from? Are you local?" And then I'm like, "Yeah, sorry, I am local." And then I start talking like Afrikaans a bit and everything like that to them, and then they're like, "Ah, okay." And then I just explain, like, I kind of got it through doing gaming,
Yeah, that's
and
an
then they're like,
awesome way to say it too, right? Like it's not
exactly.
it's not the common thing, but it's cool.
it's something that's happened to me. But
Yeah.
the accent
Yeah, go
itself
on,
and
yeah.
everything like that, sometimes I know a lot of I've been hit up on Twitter a lot of the times, and even like on the YouTube channel saying, like South Africans, they like seeing me on like the YouTube, and they're like, "Oh, you're in this as well," and everything like that. "Oh yeah, you go, Boyki," and then it's like I'm like, "Yes, yes, I'm doing this." It's so cool to see.
Yeah, it is really cool to see. And I mean, literally, we were just talking about that, communicating with people from all over the world through another game. So here it's happening again to you, right? um,
Exactly.
it's kind of funny how life, they always say, it's history repeats itself. Here we are again. But this time it's super, super cool. It's
I
spaceships.
know, right?
Yeah,
It's next level.
it's next level. um, yeah, we gotta get on Eve Online, man, because I was blown away playing it last night. I mean, I was just like, what is this, man? Like, because it just gave me this feeling like, and this is why I'm ready for like VR,
Mm.
And I don't know if Eve Online does VR. We know Star Atlas in the future will obviously do VR. Pause, everybody. It's not for 10 years, probably, so relax.
Yeah.
But, when that time comes, like, I just want to play one of these space games in VR because, oh, man, it's one thing to see it on your screen and to scroll side to side, like on Eve Online and 360 up and down everywhere and just see everything and feel like you're in it, but it's gonna be a
Mm.
whole different monster when we get to put on that VR headset and we're immersed in it and we're like, oh my god,
Yeah, no.
what have I done? Where am
That's
I?
exactly that. Exactly. It's exactly that.
Yeah,
It's just gonna be an entirely different level. But I would for sure connect with like Eve Online. I've got like what 200 hours on that game. So
decent,
not
decent.
not a pro, but I at least know some things. But probably when I start playing that thing, I'll know nothing again. It'll be like riding a bike. Of course, it's gonna take me about a good
Yeah.
15 hours to get back
Well,
into that.
you're a lot farther than I am. I've got that noob ship that they give you as a caldera. That thing. That
Yeah,
thing looks
yeah.
pretty decent. I probably could get some good loot off of that and probably fly around space and not look too new. That ship will disguise me a little bit.
Oh, yeah, no, for sure, for sure. It'll definitely disguise you. Don't worry.
Yeah, they'll never know.
They'll never know.
I'm a professional with 700 hours in, or like let's say 10,000 hours in Eve Online, and I generally just like to ride around in that ship as a cloak, so that's
It's
the one guy doing it, right?
exactly, exactly. No.
They're
That
gonna
sounds
know.
amazing. But yeah, we'll
They're
definitely
gonna
have to
know.
connect to that.
They're gonna know.
No, agreed. Even
Yeah.
there was another game that I was trying to get into with a bunch of friends and so on, which is Osiris. There's also a new one that's Icarus. Osiris is also like a space kind of themed with like
Uh huh.
first person on a planet, and then you're just building spaceships and things like that and whatnot. But yeah, it's there's so many things that's coming about. Even Icarus. Icarus is the new like survival big game right now. I can't wait for the Forest 2 to come out. That's something I'm looking forward to. That's
What is it
that's
again?
gonna be
How
next
did you
level.
say it? Something Icarus?
Yeah,
Was the
Icarus.
second
So
one Icarus?
Icarus.
And what's it
So
all
you
about?
go. So you survive. So you basically land on a planet, and then you're like there for a certain duration. You gotta make resource. You gotta collect resources. Gotta build buildings. Gotta research materials, and then after that duration, and prepare fuel and things like that. Then after that duration, you go from that planet to another planet, and then on this planet you further your technology and your resource gathering, and then as you go from planet to planet, it gets harder and harder because there's more things that want to kill you, or harder
Right.
things that want to kill you on these planets. And it's just developing your sense of survival as you go from planet to planet to planet. It's a fairly new game. I think it's only come out like say November. Alpha
Mm-hmm.
has come out November. It was originally in beta for a while, well, not for too long, about September, and then a little bit of November, and then now it's full alpha at least, which is
Oh
nice.
wow. Yeah, I mean, no complaints on that, right? We all love alpha.
Exactly.
Everybody loves a little alpha.
Exactly.
So, man, I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to speak to me, and I think your knowledge, um, your background in gaming, and just the time you take in a day to really wake up and say I want to find out more about Star Atlas, and then the fact that you put yourself out there to speak in these Twitter spaces, talk with me in an interview, and just always make sure that you're informing people outside of just the guild, right? You're really, this is
Mm.
what you're passionate about. I think it's a really beautiful thing, and I couldn't thank you enough, and I think the community is gonna really react to this, and they're gonna be very appreciative. And I think next week is something that we gotta link up and do, and maybe we start me and you can start some type of series, like technical analysis about Star Atlas, right? And well, you
Yeah.
probably, I don't know if you already have like YouTubes on the guild, but if you want to do it here, we can do it together. I'll be the the community. I'll speak for the community, ask 1,000 questions, and you just give us give us those hard answers. Give us what we want to hear. So thank you, man. I
Sounds
really
about right.
appreciate it,
Sounds about
Ronan.
right. Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. I really appreciate the offer
Yeah.
for coming here and everything like that, and I really enjoyed my time.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it too, and we had some laughs. We talked about some serious stuff, but overall, we just, we continue to build this relationship, and I'm really looking forward to the future. Do you got
Ah,
any last words? You want to plug your socials? You want to let the people know where they can find you? You just shill yourself real quick for a couple of minutes if you want to, please.
all right. So, you
Let
can
them
find
have it.
me you can find me on like Twitter. I believe it's at XRonin47X to find
Yep.
me on Twitter, and then as well as just go and search for the club YouTube, and you'll be able to find me. Or you'll be able to find most of our videos over there that I mainly do over there.
Yeah.
Otherwise, on the YouTubes as well, you'll find the Discord, and you can just hit me up over there in the general or anything like that if you have any like generalized questions about anything that is within Star Atlas itself.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, people, go follow him. Show him all the love, show him all the support. Check out the guild; they're doing big things, and really just take a look at everything. And if you got any last words, please say them now, Ronan, and let the people know. If not, then I'm super grateful for you coming on and speaking with me. Thank you.
Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. At the end of the day, hashtag we are Star Atlas, and
Boom.
that's how it should always be.
It is. Yep. Hashtag Star Atlas. So we'll end it on that. Hashtag Star Atlas, everybody. Let's make that go viral one day, right?
Exactly.
All right. Thank you very much, everybody, for tuning in. This is the Moonman Experience. Had a really great talk with Ronan. Please follow him. Please connect with him. He's one of the great leaders here in the space of Star Atlas and the metaverse itself. A lot of alphas were dropped, and he's really somebody that's making waves in this beautiful world that we're all living in right now, which is the Star Atlas Metaverse. So thank you guys so much for listening to this. Please subscribe, like, follow, do all that stuff that you do on socials, and let's continue being great. And hashtag we are Star Atlas. Thank you.